Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Gulfstream Park here on Saturday. It's the 29th of February 2020. It's also Fountain of Youth Day from Gulfstream, and I'm going to look at all the stakes races, including the Fountain of Youth. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And also join me for my Saudi Arabia Cup preview video. That should be live very soon. And also join me next Saturday for my Gotham preview from Aqueduct. So we're in the height of these Derby prep races, so make sure you join me on YouTube for all those previews. But it's Fountain Youth Day from Gulfstream, basically Florida Derby preview day, and you have stakes races galore, so we have a whole bunch of them to get to. So we'll be looking at races, and it'll probably be easier just to say which races we won't be looking at, but we'll be looking at the races 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So those are races 3, 4, 5, 7, and then 9 through 14. A lot of action to get to. Let's get to the third from Gulfstream, which is a race rich in history. It's fallen on hard times recently, but it's still it's still a good race. The third race from Gulfstream Park, it's the Hutcheson Stakes, purse $100,000. Race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 7 horses heading to the main track. The sprinting distance of ground of 1,200 meters, or the distance of ground of 6 furlongs on the Gulfstream Park main track. 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs, main track. And I show the diagram. It just gives me a second to look down my notes. Just bear with me. Sorry, I'm stupid. I can't do 2 things at the same time. Especially during these videos. I get very stressed out sometimes making them. But hopefully not today. Top selection. I'll take the 6 horse, Our Nation on Parade. I'm going to go 6, 5, 7, 3 in the superfecta. 6, 5, 7, 3 super. Top selection, 6 horse, Our Nation on Parade. This 3-year-old gelded by Cal Nation. Catherine Ritfo trains. Pago Lopez gets the mount. The horse hasn't been seen since the 19th of October. That came at Laurel. 6 furlongs in the Maryland Million Nursery, and the horse won by 3 3/4 lengths, and it basically got everything his own way on the front end. Stalked, got lead, and then quickened up nicely, went away with it. It was an all-around good run. Keep in mind, 3rd place finisher was a winner next night out. 2 back, and in the debut at Laurel, 8th of September, 6 furlongs made special weight 52,000. The horse finished second by a neck that day, and was with the pace setters early on. He hit the wall very late in the stretch, but still fought a good race for the debut. It's been training here at Gulfstream very well recently. I think, this horse should run well, 4-1, so we'll use him on the multi-race. You have to also use the 5-horse Chivalry. 3-year-old colt by Awesome, of course. Most recently placed in the swale behind Mischievous Alex, who just went away with that one. This horse just really couldn't get the good turn of foot. Cut back to 6 furlongs today. Should really suit this well. Do this horse well. And, he's been training well, so at 2-1, we'll definitely use this horse on the multi-race. But to recap my selection for the third from Gulfstream, it's the Hutcheson. Let's take the 6-horse Nation on Parade. We'll go 6, 5, 7, 3 in the superfecta, 6, 5 in the multi-race. Let's have it over to race number 4. The fourth event from Gulfstream Park, it's the Palm Beach Stakes Grade 3 purse $150,000 race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 12 horses heading to the 180-foot wide Gulfstream Park turf course. The distance of ground is 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of mile and 1/16th on the turf course. 1,700 meters, a mile 1/16th. The rail is at 96 feet, so it's the outer portion of the turf course, which plays a bit to closers. The inner portion is very speed orientated, but the outside, closer can win. The top selection here, it's a very, weird race. I'm going to go with the 7-horse South Bend. We'll go 7, 10, 12, 9 in the superfecta. 7, 10, 12-9 super. Top selection 7-horse South Bend. This 3-year-old colt by Algorithms. Stanley Huff trains one. Julian Leperoux gets the mount. Blinkers on. The horse's most recent outing came 29 days ago on the 1st of February here at Gulfstream Park. 1 mile in the Diarmida Beach Stakes, and the horse finished 3rd by a neck that day. He just stalked most race, was closing up well late. I thought it was a decent race. I think today, hopefully seeing a little bit closer like he did last time out, I think that will do wonders in this race. Not so much good speed in this one. I think it's going to do well for him. Before that, the horse ran on the 4th of January here at Gulfstream Park, 1 mile Mucho Macho Man, and the horse finished 4th by 9 1/4 lengths. Hit a little bit of turn of foot late, but it wasn't anything spectacular. And then the Kentucky Jockey Club at Churchill, mile 16th on the slop. He finished 6th by 4 3/4 lengths. Was with them early on, but then wide, and then just kind of hit the wall late. Just couldn't keep the momentum going. But since they put the horse on the turf last time out, he went up a lot of buyer numbers. He's been training well on the turf at Palm Meadows. Been training well on the dirt at Palm Meadows also. 4-1 Blinkers on for the first time today. I'm going to give him a shot here. Along with this 10-horse Famished, this 3-year-old colt by Uncle Mo, another horse getting Blinkers on for the first time. John Kimmel trains this one. Manny Franco comes in for the mount. The horse's most recent outing came in that Diana Beach a few weeks ago. And the horse finished fifth by 1.5 lengths. And, it was closing up a little bit that day, but had a wide poster and was a little bit wide throughout. Hopefully today could save a little bit more ground, and I think he'll do a lot better. Also, the Diarmida Stakes was the horse's first start since the Nashua at Aqueduct on the 3rd of November, 1 mile there, and the horse finished fourth by 16 3/4 lengths. Independence Hall ran a terrific race, then won next start in the Jerome on New Year's. This horse just really couldn't get the good turn of foot, and also just never saved ground. It was basically in the park lot most of the race. And then prior to that, the horse ran his turf debut at Belmont, mile 16th in the Pilgrim. He finished fourth by 1 3/4 lengths. Was very wide, kept going that day, but Strucker ran a terrific race and went on to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf in his next start. But this horse has been training again well at Palm Meadows. I'll give him a shot here at 10-1. Also, he looks like your wise guy horse. You have to use the 12 horse Vitology. Also, I had him in originally the Breeders' Cup as my selection, but he got scratched out of it, so he hasn't run since the Bourbon at Keeneland, where he had a very good place, a second place finish by neck, but it was good to a point. He was drifting, which possibly could have cost him there. But before that, he had a decent in his North America debut at Woodbine in the summer. He finished third by 1 3/4 lengths. Horrible beginning, but was closing up well late. And then in Ireland, in the UK at York, he ran a decent place at York during the Ebor and broke the maiden at Naas very nicely. Another horse, he has the pedigree to win. He's drawn in the parkland, so he's going to have to try and save some ground. But he can win here on paper. Definitely use him in that early multi-race wagers. But to recap my selection for the fourth now from Gulfstream, it's the Grade 3 Palm Beach. Let's take the 7-horse South Bend as a top selection. We'll go 7-10, 12-9 in the superfecta, 7-10-12, and that's multi-race. Let's get to race number 5. Race number 5 from Gulfstream, it's the Honey Fox Stakes, Grade 3, purse $150,000, race for 4-year-olds, fillies, mares, 4-year-olds, and upwards here. We have a field of 11 horses going to the turf course, a distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile in the Gulfstream Park turf course. 1,600 meters, 1 mile turf course. The rail is out here at 24 feet, so it's the inner portion of the turf course. The top selection, I'll take the 6-horse Conquest Hard Candy. We'll go 6-2, 10-5 in the superfecta, 6-2, 10-5 super. Top selection, 6-horse Conquest Hard Candy. The 6-year-old Marebar Candy ride. Antonio Sano trains one. Edgar Zayas gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came Pegasus Stay here at Gulfstream Park, 7.5 rungs in the South Beach, and the horse finished 8th by 4 3/4 lengths there. And a horrible beginning. A few horses had a horrible beginning that day, but this horse broke piss poor, closed up a little bit late, but there wasn't anything spectacular about that run. The horse has to break today. If he breaks, he's going to go away with it, I think. 2 back, though, they ran the horse against tough competition at Keeneland, 1 mile in the First Lady, the Grade 1 First Lady, shall I say, and the horse finished 13th by 28.5 lengths. Was, stalking early on, but then just hit the wall. Uni ran a terrific race, went on to win the Breeders' Cup Mile, beating the boys next start out, but this horse just couldn't get to it. And then in the Boston Spa at Saratoga, mile 16, 24th of August, the horse finished 5th by 3/4 lengths, was sending pace most of the race, got caught late, but she didn't go down without a fight. I thought she ran a terrific race. Keep in mind, first and third place finishers were both next out winners. And then before that, Saratoga, mile 16th on a yielding going optional 6-2. The horse won by 3/4 lengths. She stalked, she got the lead, took off clear. She's run here at Gulfstream Park 16 times in the past, and she has 2 victories to her name. So, and out of those 16 times, she's placed 5 times. So she hasn't run so badly here, but she hasn't won so many races either here. She ran this race 2 seasons ago, or excuse me, 1 season ago, last year, and she had a horrible trip. She finished 7 by 6 1/4 lengths, and she was very, very wide, which she couldn't do. But she sits closer like she did 2 back in the First Lady, or like she was doing over the summer in the Northeast. I think she could win here today. I'm going to give her a shot here at 10-1, so let's use her. A very wide open race again. I think you also have to use a 2-horse Atomic Launch. She won the South Beach a few weeks ago very, very nicely. Before that, disappointing third at Aqueduct, but that was on quite wet ground. She's a kind of horse, I like her running style for this inner portion of the turf course, and closer. At 9-2, she's been training well also. Definitely use her on the multi-race, but I was there at the wedding last time out, so, you want to be there at the wedding when you have her. Next time out, do you want to really be there at the funeral? But I'll use her on the multi-race, and I'm also going to, use the 10-horse Munchkin Money, Cimarron Mare by Frood, this New York bred here. Last race in the Marshua River, she finished second. She really had a great turn of foot late. She just missed, but that was a very exciting stretch run. Before then, the My Charmer again, she was very wide. She just missed. Not a bad run at all. And then probably her worst race in the most recent form line, other than the Belmont fiasco in late September. Before that, after that, in Ticonderoga, she was very, very wide on that turf course with the rails out. You can't do that at Belmont on that inner. But coming here, she's been close, but no cigar last two. She likes this turf course. 4-1, definitely use her on the multi-race. But to recap my selections now for the 5th from Gulfstream, it's grade 3 Honey Fox. As a top selection, we'll take the 6-horse Conquest Hard Candy. We'll go 6-2-10-5 in the superfecta, and we'll go 6-2-10 in that multi-race. So now let's get to race number 7 from Gulfstream. Race number 7 from Gulfstream, it's the Very One Stakes, grade 3 purse, $150,000, race for fillies, mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 12 horses entered to go the distance of ground of 1,900 meters, or the distance of ground of mile 3/16 on the Gulfstream Park turf course. 1,900 meters, a mile 3/16 turf course. The rail's at 96 feet, so it's the outer portion of the turf course. I think they should just call it the outer turf course and the inner turf course, and just say, this is the cutoff, say like 72 feet, that's, or 60 feet, that's the cutoff, but that's never going to happen. But the top selection here in the Very One, I'm going to go with the number 5 horse, Cap de Creases. I'm going to go 5-3-6-10 in the superfecta, 5-3-6-10 super, top selection of 5 horse, Cap de Creases. This 4-year-old filly by Tappet, Tom Pletcher trains, Flavian Pratt gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 30th of January at Gulfstream, mile 3/16 over the Triple Crown. Allowance race 44,000. The horse finished second by a half a length that day. The horse sat back early after not the best beginnings, but was very wide, had lead for a split portion, got caught by Bacchanalia, who ran a terrific race there. But this horse, ran a respectable race there. Prior to that, the horse ran at Gulfstream mile 8th and Optional 35 in late December, and the horse finished second by a head, and again was closing up well from the back of the pack. Lost to Me Mary, who went on to win the next start out in the La Poviante here at Gulfstream on Pegasus Day, going the mile-and-a-half trip. This horse ran a terrific race behind her, and then before that, at here in New York at Belmont, a mile and a quarter on the inner turf course, and optional 30. The horse finished 4th by 2 1/4 lengths. Again, moved a little bit, but that inner turf course at Belmont does not play towards closers. It's a very speed-orientated course, especially going that mile and a quarter trip. And then before that, Saratoga, mile 3/16, and allowance race 92,000. The horse finished 3rd by 2 1/4 lengths. Was with the pace setters, or setting the pace early on, but then just couldn't at least keep the momentum late. But she's been training well. Her last few races haven't been half bad. I think she'll be in the mix late. 8-1, let's use her here. Again, like all these other races, these are very wide open races, and I think you want to go deep on the multi race here. I also think you have to use the 3-horse Queen of Time, the 6-year-old mare by Harbor Watch, making the North America debut for Grand Motion. June Alvarado comes in to ride this one. First time Lasix. Most recently, they ran the horse in the Cambridgeshire Handicap at Newmarket, a mile and 8 there. It's one of those stupid 35 horse handicaps there, and the horse finished 24th by 20 lengths there and just never got into it. The winner, Lord Northford Torrey, just ran a terrific race. This horse just wasn't getting into him. Before that, in the Grand Prix de Fontainebleau, listed stakes of Fontainebleau, the horse finished 3rd by 1/2 lengths. And something keep in mind, as you know, I do look at a lot of the races from France on here on YouTube, and something the UK runners were great at the last few years were sending their horses to run in those listed stakes in France, like that race of Fontainebleau, and they were basically running 1, 2, 3 in all those races. This horse ran a good 3rd place finish there. It was a little bit wide, but it wasn't a bad run. It was an improvement off the race before, which came in the Upavon Stakes at Salisbury, a mile and a quarter. The horse finished 6th by 17 3/4 lengths on very wet or log turf course. This horse just couldn't get the good turn of foot. But before that, Salisbury won a very nice handicap there, and then in the hopping stakes to Newcastle on the Tapeta, the horse ran disappointing. This horse has only won once since 2017, but has hidden form. It was facing some very tough horses in the UK the last 2 years. Coming here, change scenery to the mile 3/16 trip she likes. I'm going to give her a good shot here at 12-1. So we'll also use her, and we'll also use the 6-horse here, Lemon Zip. Tyler Connor gets on this one. This horse is the wise guy. She's either going to get the distance or it's going to be, finishing way out of it. Her most recent out in the Zagora Aqueduct, mile and a half on the inner. She finished 3rd by 3/4 lengths. She was very wide, but she was closing up well. Before then, the Laurel Turf Cup facing the boys, she finished 2nd there. And again, she closed up well. She just missed, not a bad run. And then she had a handicap at Laurel a week earlier, The horse won by 2 1/2 lengths going the mile and a half trip. She really got a good race there. Her most recent races haven't been half bad. If she could run the mile 3/16 trip, I think she'll get a good race. Like I said, her last few races were good. So to recap my selection for the 7th now from Gulfstream, it's grade 3, the very one stakes. Gonna go with the number 5 horse Captain Creases. I'm gonna go 5, 3, 6, 10 in the superfecta. We'll use the 5, 3, and 6 in that multi-race. Now let's get to race number 9 from Gulfstream. Race number 9 from Gulfstream. It's the Herecomesthebride Stakes, purse $150,000, race for 3-year-old fillies here. We have a field of 12 horses going to the turf course, a distance of ground of 1,700 meters, with a distance of ground of 1.116 on the Gulfstream Park lawn of the turf course. 1,700 meters, a mile 1/16 here in the grade 3. Here comes the bride. Rails at 24 feet. So again, it's the inner portion of the lawn. Top selection, I'm going to go with the 4-horse Ginger Kitty. We'll go 4, 7, 10, 6 in the superfecta. 4, 7, 10, 6 super. Top selection of 4-horse Ginger Kitty. 3-year-old filly by Red Rocks. Cario Rendon gets the mount on this one for Georgia Arnold for Calumet Farm. But the sire is Red Rocks, Breeders' Cup turf winner, and the dam sire, English Channel, is Breeders' Cup turf winner. So this horse is bred to go a mile and a half through and through. But the horse's most recent outing came here at Gulfstream on the 9th of January, mile 16th and optional 50, and the horse finished second by 1/2 lengths. He kind of stalked all the way around the race course, just need that extra turn of foot late. Had actually the lead for a split portion, but just need that extra turn of foot late. First off, a little bit refreshing, maybe you need to be acclimatized. The horse needs the race. I'm going to really go, to the window on her today. She shouldn't be 15-1. 2 back, the horse ran the 20th of November at Churchill, mile 16th allowance race, 97,000, and the horse finished 4th by 5 1/4 lengths. Opened up by a bunch early on, but then kind of hit the wall late. The long stretch got to her at Churchill, and then in her debut at Indiana, mile 16th off turf, main special weight 31,000. The horse went by 2 lengths. Not spread for the dirt. The turf, the pedigree says turf, but still got to the dirt very nicely on the front end all throughout, winning by 2 lengths. It was a very good run. It's been training well. Like I said, this horse has a very promising pedigree. Inner portion of this turf course plays a lot towards speed. She's drawn well. If she breaks 15-1, she might not be stopped, so we'll use her here. You also have to use the 7-horse Upscon here. The pick 6 begins with this race, so this is the kind of race you want to go too deep. We're going to use Upscon here. 3-year-old filly by Blame. Eddie Keneally trains. Tyler Gaffleone gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the Ginger Brew right after New Year's here at Gulfstream Park. 7.5 furlongs, and the horse lost all chances at the beginning, finishing 3rd by 3/4 length. Had to sit back early, a little bit of turn of foot late, but the start really got to her. If she breaks well today, I think she could get away with it. Prior to that, she ran the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf at Santonito, 1 mile. She finished 7 by 4.5 lengths. Was setting the pace early on, but then she kind of hit the wall late. The better horses got to her. And then at Woodbine, a mile, and then Talma, the horse won by a nose. Again, didn't break that well, but she got there in nick of time. The final 2 furlongs, which could be tough on that for 2-year-olds at Woodbine. She looked like she was going to hit the wall, but she held on to the victory. She's been training well. She ran against some of the tough horses of the division in the fall, and it's not the world's toughest race. At 3-1 with a heavyweight, also we'll use her. But to recap my selection for the 9th from Gulfstream Park, it's the grade 3. Here comes the bride. We'll take the 4-horse Ginger Kitty as a top selection. We'll go 4, 7, 10, 6 in the superfecta, 4, 7 in the multi-race. Let's get to the race number 10 from Gulfstream. It's the Davone Dale Stakes, grade 2, purse $200,000, race for 3-year-old fillies here. We have a field of 9 horses heading to the main track, the distance of ground of 1,600 meters, with a distance of ground of 1 mile here in the Davone Dale. 1,600 meters, 1 mile. Before I get to my top selection, my favorite Davone Dale, was from 2005, I believe. Sis City winning the race by a dozen, I want to say 13 lengths or 14 lengths. Everybody thought, oh, freak, she's definitely going to win the Kentucky Oaks. Can't wait for her next start, which I don't know if she ran in what they called the Bonnie Miss next, or I know she ran the Ashland before the Kentucky Oaks, and she won that race by 18. And everybody was betting her into that Kentucky Oaks that year, and then she finished 6th, and Jerry Bailey went on like a $50 horse. Very disappointing race, and that was 2005. Joe Torrio owned part of Sis City. that so the favorite lost to City in that Oaks. The favorite for the Derby that year was Bellamy Road. George Steinbrenner owned Bellamy Road, also a part owner of that. So it was kind of weird that the Yankee skipper and the Yankee owner both had horses in 2005 that could win a classic, and they lost on days apart. What can you do? But that City always reminds me of this Davone Dale. But the top selection here, I'm gonna go to the number 6 horse here. Spice is Nice. I'm gonna go 6917 in the superfecta. 6917 super. Top selection 6 horse. Spice is Nice. 3-year filly by Curlin. Top Fletcher trains. John Velasquez gets the mount. I believe John Velasquez was the rider to City, but this horse has only had one starter. That came here at Gulfstream the 12th of January. 1 mile and a main special weight 43,000, and the horse won by a dozen that day. This horse sat back early, had a great turn of foot, and then just kept going. That was a very impressive run. They think highly of this horse because they bought the horse for just over $1 million. So, like I said, they think highly of him. Since the race, he's been training well at Palm Beach, the Pletcher base, 4 furlong workout, 49 flat, the 11th best workout of 24, and a 5 furlong workout, 101, and 4th, 5th, 2nd, third best workout, 6. This horse is bred by Curlin with a Bernardini mare, so she's definitely going to get the trip. There's going to be a good pace in this one. I think it's set up for a horse like her, but she looks like she also probably won't need the way her workout patterns go. It wouldn't surprise me to see her on the front end here today, but 7 to 5, she looks real deal. If you want to single her in the pick 5, I don't blame you, but if you want to maybe catch a price here, the 9 horse Tonalist Shape could also possibly get a piece for 3-year filly by Tonalist. Tyler Gaffleon gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing in the Forward Gal here at Gulfstream, 7/8 of a mile. The horse won by 3 3/4 lengths, and she's 30 cents to the dollar, and she's supposed to win, and she won quite easily. That was a very good run. But before that, here in the Hut, she won by 9 that day, 89 buyers. She just freed that day. That was a very good run. She's been training well. At 7 to 2, she can win on paper. So if you want to use her in the pick 5 and the pick 6 to maybe beat the favorite, use her there. But Spice is Nice is going to be very hard to beat, I think. But to recap my selection now for the 10th from Gulfstream, it's grade 2 Davona Dale. Let's take the 6 horse. Spice is Nice. We'll go 6-9-1-7 in the superfecta. Yeah, like I said, you could single the 6 in the multi-race, or you could go 6-9 in the multi-race. But let's get to that 11th race now from Gulfstream. The 11th race from Gulfstream, it's the Canadian Turf Grade 3 purse, $150,000 races for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 14 horses entered. Only 12 could go to the lawn. The distance of ground is 1,600 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile on the turf course. 1,600 meters, 1 mile turf course. Rails at 96 feet. So again, we're to the outer portion of the turf course. Basically, we're going to be going from the outer to the outer to the inner. But top selection here in the Canadian Turf, we're going to go with the number 5 horse, Sombaye. I'm going to go 5-4-9-2 in the superfecta. 5-4-9-2 super. Top selection to 5 horse, Sombaye. This 4-year-old colt by Into the Mischief. Todd Pletcher trains 1. Flavian Pratt gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came on Pegasus Day here at Gulfstream. 7.5 furlongs and opposite 6-2. The horse's first start off long break. The horse finished second by 3/4 length. Was very wide that day. Looked like he was going to get the lead, the win late, but Hey Dakota, who's running back this one, just got to him late. But he still ran a respectable race first off the break. Prior to that, the horse ran the Grade 2 Hall of Fame at Saratoga, 1 mile, August 2nd, and the horse finished second by a head that day. Sat back early, had lead, but then he just couldn't get the Casa Creed. But he didn't, go down without a fight that day. It was a bloodbath late. And then before that, in the quick call at Saratoga, 5.5 on the lawn. Don't think he likes the 5.5 for a long trip. He finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths. He moved a little bit late after not the best beginnings. But, he's a better, I think, router, or, the 2-turn mile, which he's going to get today. He's changed a lot since he's gotten to the turf. He's gotten better with every single race since the turf debut. And I think he's sitting on a good run. He hasn't won since the Sanford of 2018 at Saratoga, so he's due for a victory. We'll use him here today. Multi-race scenario, I think you have to use the 4 horse Hembry also. Mike Maker trains 1. Horse ran a very disappointing race in the Tampa Bay a few weeks ago at Tampa Bay Downs mile 16th, where he finished 6th by 7.5 lengths, was very wide throughout, and just had nothing. But he has the ability to get a good race and a good closing kick here today. If you look at some of the races over the summer, he ran a terrific race in the Forbidden Apple. A little traffic trouble in the 4-star Dave, but he ran, I thought, again, a decent place in the Tourist Mile, Kentucky Downs. He ran here last year where he finished 4th off a little bit of a refreshing, but he likes this turf course at 5-1. Definitely use him here. He's been training well also. He should really do a complete better race than he did the last time out. So we'll use him here also. We'll also use on the ticket Guido, the 9 horse. His last few races haven't been half bad. He hasn't won since Belmont in June. Since they took him to the turf, he's been a completely different horse. And I think this 5-year-old horse by Franco could get the job done at 8-1. Let's use him. So to recap my selection for the 11th from Gulfstream Park, it's the Grade 3 Canadian turf. Let's take the 5-horse Sombaye. We'll go 5-4-9-2 in the superfecta. We'll use the 5-4-9 in the multi-race. Let's get to race number 12. The 12th race from Gulfstream, it's the Gulfstream Park Mile, Grade 2 purse, $300,000, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 11 horses going to the main track, the distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile on the Gulfstream Park main track. 1,600 meters, 1 mile here in the Gulfstream Park Mile. Race used to be known as the Gulfstream Park Handicap, a race very rich in history. Cigar won this race a few times, I believe in 95 and 96, or definitely in 96. I think he used it as a springboard to the Dubai World Cup. But if you look down the list, multiple, some great winners. Barron's won it, I believe, in 99 or 2000. I know one of my favorite horses, Eddington, won it. So it's a race rich in history. They took it to a mile, which I don't think it was the right decision. Now you're missing that good kind of classic race towards the end of the meeting here at Gulfstream Park. You used to have you still have the Pegasus, but you need that race like in March to get horses to that classic trip. But with that being said, I think now they actually have the Hal's Hope is at the end of next month, and that's a mile and 8, so you're getting close to a good trip of ground for those horses. But if they can run at a mile and a quarter, it'd be even cooler. But the top selection here in the Gulfstream Park Mile handicap, it's not handicap anymore, but the top selection, I'm going to go with the number 7 horse True Timber. We'll go 7-11-9-5 in the superfecta. Excuse me, losing my voice. But 7-11-9-5 super. Top selection 7 horse True Timber. The 6-year-old horse by Mineshaft, who was the 2003 horse of the year. But Kira McLaughlin trains this one. Joe Bravo gets to mount. Excuse me, I don't want to lose my voice during this video. But the top selection, his most recent outing, my top selection's most recent outing, there we go, came here at Gulfstream Park, mile and 8th in the Pegasus World Cup, where he didn't have a lot. I backed him that day. What do you expect? But he finished 8th by 12.5 lengths there, and he just had a horrible trip early on, and basically was done, after the first 2 furlongs, basically. Not his day to win. Back to a 1-turn mile. He'll probably get a better trip, because I think he'll see a good pace in this one. It's going to play towards a closer. Before then, the Scar Mile and Aqueduct, 1 mile December the 7th. He finished 3rd by 5.5 lengths. He was closing up a little bit late, a little bit wide, but I thought he ran a terrific race, earning a 101 buyer. And then before then, the Bold Ruler at Belmont 7 furlongs, October 26th. He finished 3rd by 4.5 lengths. He stalked early on, but Maximum Security got, went away with it. This horse was just a little bit wide and just wasn't excelling there. And then the Kelso at Belmont 1 mile. The horse finished 3rd by 3.5 lengths. First off the break, he desperately needed the race, but he's run these good races at a 1-turn kind of distance. He actually placed in the Cigar Mile of 2018 at Aqueduct, placed in the Bold Ruler of 2018 at Aqueduct, and his last victory he had to go to Belmont in September of 2018, where he won very nicely. Your regular rider Joe Bravo up. I think back to a 1-turn with a good pace in front of him in the 15-1. I think he's loaded, so we'll use him here. We'll also use the 11 horse Hog Creek Hustle, Hog Creek Hustle, not Hog Creed, Hog Creek Hustle. Tyler Gaffield owns on this one for Vicky Foley, coming in from the fairgrounds. The horse's most recent outing came in in an overnight stakes, or excuse me, a black type stakes at the fairgrounds most recently, 6 furlongs, and the horse finished 2nd by 4.5 lengths. Bobby Zook, Wake 1, ran a terrific race. This horse just really wasn't excelling there, but I think the 1 mile trips to suit him well. Placed in the Pat Day Mile earlier this year, and then went on to win Woody Stevens. Placed in the Alan Jerkins, ran some terrific races. Like I said, a 1-turn mile should suit him well. 12-1, we'll use him here also. And I also think you have to use the 9 horse Mr. Freeze. He ran a 2nd in the Pegasus a few weeks ago. A decent 3rd before then. The Clark will definitely use him on the multi-race, but to recap my selections for the 12 from Gulfstream, is to Gulfstream Park Mile. Let's take the 7 horse True Timber. We'll go 7-11-9-5 in the superfecta, 7-11-9 in that multi-race. Let's get to the 3rd. The 13th race from Gulfstream Park, it's the Mac Diarmida Stakes, Grade 2 purse, $200,000, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 10 horses going to the turf course, the distance of ground of 2,200 meters, or the distance of ground of a mile 3/8 on the Gulfstream Park turf course. 2,200 meters, mile 3/8 turf course, rails at 24 feet, so again, guess what? We're on the inner portion of the turf course. The top selection here in the Mac Diarmida, I love the 5-horse Channel Maker. We'll go 5-6-3-4 in the superfecta, 5-6-3-4 super. Top selection, my best bet of the day is the 5-horse Channel Maker, 6-year-old gelding by English Channel. Belmont trains. Junior Alvarado comes in to ride this horse. The horse's most recent outing came in the Breeders' Cup Turf at Santa Anita, mile half to the 2nd of November, and the horse finished 12th by 8 3/4 lengths. He just couldn't keep up with the better horses there. He stalked early on from a wide poster, then was wide and just had nothing. It wasn't the day to win, but he's in a realistic spot to win here today, and I think his speed should hold him well on this turf course. Two back, the horse ran the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic at Belmont, a mile and a half the 5th of October, and he finished second by a half length. He set the pace. He, had to lead for a split portion after he lost it, and then he got caught by Arklow. But again, he ran a terrific race, earning a 104 buyer, and then the Sword Dancer at Saratoga, mile and a half, 24th of August. The horse finished 4th by 2 3/4 lengths, and again, he set the pace from a wide post draw. Annals of time got to him. He kind of hit the wall late, but he still ran a respectable run. And then before then, the Bowling Green at Saratoga, mile 3/8. He finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths. Again, he was he didn't have the best of starts early on because he couldn't get to the front end, where he does his better running. But he closed up well late. It was an all-out finish, but he still could have ran a little better. And then before that, he ran the Manhattan at Belmont, a mile and a quarter on the inner. He finished 4th by 2 3/4 lengths, and he just never had the turn of foot. Bricks and Mortar just ran a terrific race there. He ran this race last year where he finished 4th by 1/4 lengths, but that day he was drawn very, very wide. Today I think he can get a better trip from the inside, and I think he's sitting on a very good run. At 8-1, we'll use him. So to recap my selection for the 13th from Gulfstream Park, it's the Grade 2 Mac Diarmida. Let's take the 5-horse Channel Maker as my top selection and my best bet of the day. Single in the multi-race will go 5-6-3-4 in the superfecta. Let's get to the 14th from Gold. The featured 14th race from Gulfstream. It's the Fountain of Youth Stakes, Grade 2 purse $400,000, race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 12 horses entered to go the distance of ground to 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of a mile and 1/16 on the Gulfstream Park main track. 1,700 meters, a mile 1/16 main track. The top selection here in the Fountain of Youth, a very wide open race. I'm going to take the 7-horse Country Grammar. We'll go 7-5-1-8 in the superfecta, 7-5-1-8 super. Top selection, 7-horse Country Grammar. This 3-year-old colt by Tonalist. Chad Brown trains when Javier Castellano gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 11th of November here in New York at Aqueduct, mile and the 8th, in a main special, which for $70,000. And the horse won by 3 3/4 lengths, and he had a very good run. He stalked early on, he got the lead, and then he just took off clear. A very good turn of foot. It doesn't get any easier than that. Keep in mind, second place finisher Portos went on to win next start out, I believe, on New Year's Eve at Aqueduct, going a mile and 8 very easily. But it was the horse's first start on dirt. Prior to that, the horse ran at Belmont, a mile on the Widener turf course, main special weight 75,000, and the horse finished 4th by 2 lengths there. He was drawn very wide that day. He was moving late, but he still needs something left for the final quarter. But first start, you expect that with with it being the inexperience there. Has been training well, should definitely get the trip. She'll be a little bit forwardly placed. I think he's drawn very well. 15-1, he has a live chance. So we'll use him on the multi-race along with the 5-horse Dennis Moment. This 3-year-old colt by Tisnow. Dale Romans trains. Flavian Pratt gets the mount throughout his last run of Santa Anita. Mile 16th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Lost all chances 2 feet out of the gate where he stumbled badly from the rail and just wasn't, that track was not playing towards closers. He chased all the way around, never getting the turn of foot. It wasn't his day to win. Stormed the court, just ran terrific race. Before then, the Iroquois at Churchill, mile 16th, the horse won by 1 3/4 lengths, and he could have won by, I think, a dozen that day. He stalked, he got the lead, and then he just went away with it. Very easy run. And then at Ellis, 7 furlongs, main special weight 50,000. He won by 19 1/4 lengths, not 19 lengths, and not 19 1/2. It was 19 1/4 lengths. And he just, look at the running line, the common line, demolished field, and I think that's a bit of a, they're downplaying it. That's how bad that common line is. He was drawn wide, he got over well, and 97 buyer. That was probably one of the most impressive 2-year-old runs of 2019. And then before then, his debut at Churchill, my God, 5 furlongs main special weight. He always finds something to go wrong every other start, it seems. He didn't finish the race. He clipped heels and lost Robbie Alvarado. What can you do? But after that, he really put on a show. been training well here at Gulfstream. I think, if he wants to lead, a lot of people say, I've been reading on YouTube and not YouTube, I've been reading on Twitter and stuff and all these articles about people saying, oh yeah, he's going to come from behind. I wouldn't see him come from behind today. I think Flavien Prat will have him a little bit more forwardly placed, and I think that would be good with this horse. Been training well, 2-1. We'll use him on the multi-race, and I think the one horse Candy Tycoon, Manny Franco's on this one for Tom Pletcher. I think this horse has a strong chance. If Manny Franco's best chance with this horse will be sending from the rail and just as long as you can keep going on the front end, do it. His most recent race going mile 16th or Gulfstream from the rail, he won by 4. A very easy victory there. Before that, had a second place finish going a 1-turn mile here. His worst race lifetime came on turf, but he's been training well on the dirt. He's running well on dirt. At 15-1, we'll use him as a wise guy horse on this multi-race ticket. But to recap my selection for the feature, 14th from Gulfstream, it's the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth. Let's take the 7-horse Country Grammar. We'll go 7-5-1-8 in the superfecta, 7-5-1 in the multi-race. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everyone.